strong.
Welcome back to Crypto for Freedom, where we talk about gaining financial freedom through the cryptocurrency markets. If you guys like the content, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's jump into the charts here. Dogecoin on the weekly chart looks like it's still trying to reclaim this 15-cent support level. If we take our horizontal line, we can paint that across, and we can see that Dogecoin has interacted with this 15-cent level many times, finding support on it, and then backtesting, finding it as resistance, finding it as resistance here, finding it as resistance here, support here, resistance here, finally breaking out again, and finally finding it as support 3 more times over here. Now, I do think that once Dogecoin drops through this level, we could be seeing lower prices for Dogecoin. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video if you want to see my price prediction for Dogecoin going into next year. Let's take a look at the 200-week moving average. You can see that back in the last bear market, Dogecoin was using the 200-week moving average as support. Broke through it a little bit here, but mostly found it as support, and then broke up into a bull run. And in the next bear market in 2022, it actually fell below it multiple times and rode below it for a while. Tried to find it as resistance here and then broke out. And now we've been finding it as support again. And I think once we break through that, could be lower prices for Dogecoin. Now let's jump back over to Bitcoin for a minute and take a look at Bitcoin, because I do believe that Bitcoin is in a widespread downtrend. I think we're going to be seeing a 1-year bear market, just like we've always seen, where we've seen 540 days past the halving, seeing a market cycle peak for Bitcoin. There's 520 days. Here was 540 days. And back here was 520 days. So historically, we've seen 520 to 540 days past the halving, which is the green line, and we've seen a market cycle peak, and then from there we've seen a 1-year downtrend. Over here it was 370 days before we saw the bottom, seeing a 76%, 77% retracement. Over here we saw 370 days before we saw a bottom with an 84% retracement. And I do believe, just like we've been seeing diminishing returns, we could be seeing diminishing losses. So maybe we'll see a 70% retracement for Bitcoin, bringing Bitcoin down to 38K. Or if we saw a 75% retracement for Bitcoin, we could see Bitcoin dropping all the way down to $32,000 by October of 2026. And it does look like in the short to medium term that Bitcoin is making a bear flag, finding a low here and a high. We have been seeing this rally the last few weeks, but we could end up seeing that roll over into a bear flag. That would allow time for the 50-week moving average to continue to roll over, and then maybe we would end up seeing the back test at the end of the flag here before heading down to lower prices. The price target for a bear flag is from the bottom of the flagpole to the top of the flagpole, and then you extrapolate that out to the breakdown, and that could bring Bitcoin down to 52,600 in the immediate short term, which seems to kind of line up with this, this support resistance flip, coming down something like this. And, maybe we find support there and chop around a little bit more there before ultimately heading lower into, middle of next year, into May and into the end of next year. And I think that's very likely for Bitcoin because the trend is your friend until the end. And like we've seen, 540 days past the halving. And you know, Bitcoin is forming these descending channels here, these descending triangles. And it seems like that could end up happening again here with a descending triangle. Now, there still is some price action ahead of us. You know, we still haven't even formed a downtrend line yet. So there still should be some price action ahead of us, you guys. See, we still haven't even formed a downtrend line yet. So who knows what's going to happen. You know, I do actually think that the price could come a little bit lower in the short term if we just, you know, take a look at our bull market range here like I've been talking about. And we've seen that, you know, Bitcoin chops right through the top of this range, hangs out the top a little bit, chops back to the bottom, and then goes right back to the top, right back to the bottom. And here we didn't quite go to the top, but we made it halfway. And then we chopped back to the bottom, and then we went right to the top, chopped halfway back to the bottom, back to the top. Now, does that mean we're going to go straight back to the bottom here, just like we saw over here? Or does that mean we're going to chop around a little bit and come back to the top? I doubt that because I think the bull run's over. So I think it is kind of likely that we see lower prices. I don't know. Maybe we do see this bear flag for a few weeks, but I think we're going to end up seeing lower prices within the next 4 to 6 weeks for Bitcoin moving past the holidays. Now, what does that mean for Dogecoin? That means Dogecoin could end up, you know, basically entering into its descending parallel channel that it always makes. If we grab our parallel channel, we can see that, you know, every single bear market, Dogecoin makes this parallel channel. It's happened 3 times in the past. And I think we could end up seeing another descending parallel channel here. Each time it takes roughly, this one took 1,130 days to break out. This one took 1,070 days to break out. This one took 1,030 days to break out. So could we end up seeing, you know, 1,000 days of a downtrend before we break out of this descending parallel channel, you know, holding the price of Dogecoin below this here, keeping it below, maybe even below 10 cents before we break out in September of 2027. And I think this is completely likely. And in the short term, I think we could be seeing a pretty volatile move to the downside, because if we take a look at the XRP chart and the 200-week moving average, we can see that in the 2021 cycle, the XRP created a lower high from the previous high. And once it got down to the 200-week moving average, you can see that Dogecoin actually fell right through that moving average to drop another, let's zoom in a little bit, to drop another 40%. So with Dogecoin making a lower high between cycles here, and now the price coming down to the 200-week moving average, are we going to end up seeing a 40% move below the 200-week moving average to come down to the bottom of this trend line and bring Dogecoin down to 8 cents? I think that is completely possible and completely likely in the short to medium term. So that's why you guys have to have multiple streams of income coming in, have an emergency fund, be debt free, and be dollar cost averaging into the markets, saving up big chunks of money to put lump sums of money into the market at lower prices. That's how you win in crypto. You have to have a long-term mindset, beginning with the end in mind, having profit-taking charts, and having delay gratification. If you don't have delay gratification, you're going to end up having, you know, time capitulation and price capitulation, where the price, you know, drops below the 200-week moving average. Everybody freaks out for a while, and we find a new bear market range, something like this rectangular box that I'm about to draw right here, and we end up seeing a bear market range. The last one over here was, you know, essentially 650 days. So are we entering into a 650-day bear market? Downtrend box here, could be possible and completely likely. So you guys have to be in it for the long term, all right? So if you're new to the channel, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments down below in the description. There's also a playlist. You can find all my other videos in the description. Remember that none of this is financial advice, that I'm just a random guy on YouTube. You should always do your own research. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.